Hello, Millennium Live listeners. Welcome back to the Millennium Live podcast, where we bring you insights and technology from leaders and innovators who are really transforming the digital enterprise. I'm Connor Tui, your host of the podcast, and today we're focused on fleet management, supply chain technology, with two great guests from Here Technologies, and I want to bring them on right now. First, we have Hervé Utheza. He is the Senior Director of Customer Innovation Worldwide at Here. Welcome, Hervé. It's great to have you here. Here.
Thank you and good morning, everybody.
And we also have Nick Zabikow. He is the Senior Director of Sales Logistics and Technology for the Americas. Nick, glad to have you join us as well.
Thanks, Connor. Great to be here.
So today we're really going to start by learning a lot about here technology and the kind of the rich history in map making and the multi-industry reach that they have, the powerful data layers and the tools that they've built to really drive decision making across sectors and exploring location data and how that's reshaping transportation and logistics and what industry leaders should prioritize for the near-term efficiency gains amidst all this tech buzz that we talk about, especially at the conferences. And these two great guests are going to share insights into the critical last meter challenge for hyper local delivery precision, and of course, the latest trends from their research, which is great with AWS on fleet optimization. So, if you are a leader in this space, looking to digitize your operations, or really just curious about the future of logistics, Hervé and Nick are really going to take us on a great journey, and I'm excited for this episode. So we'll dive in. And I think a great place to start in one of these podcast sessions is to kind of introduce here technologies and introduce the solution that really makes this all work. And as I mentioned in the intro here, long history in map making, multi-industry cross functionality. There's layers of data and there's software and tech and tools. So I want to discuss all that. And Hervé, I think I would love to start with you, and of course, Nick, feel free to add on. But if you could take us through a little overview of Here Technologies, I think that would be a great way to begin.
Sure. Well, it's a company that's a little bit more than 35 years old. We actually are the pioneer of having created digital maps. Our founders started there, wanted to go around the Silicon Valley and realize, oh my God, I need to digitize the maps. And we were started that way. And then the company grew. At the time, it was called Navtech. Some of your listeners may remember that name. And over the years became Nokia Maps, and then was acquired by three German auto OEMs. And we are really a bit the neutral player in the market of map making. We're a very large company. We have and cover map data across more than 250 countries worldwide. We're global in our operations, in our map coverage and reach. When you think about it, sometimes very simply, what is a map? A map is a bit like a movie. You have different layers of data that compose, if you will, an image. Sometimes you see this image in a 2D environment on your phone or on the in-vehicle cabin infotainment system and the map that the driver of the truck will look at, or that the operator of the dispatch center routing the trucks will look at. But ultimately, you have data talking about the geometry of the world. We do a lot of that, obviously, for different use cases. And then you're having software on top of that, and that your systems and the systems of the customers and its partners are going to use. and then SDKs that are going to be powering the mobile applications that are used by the end user. So in a nutshell, that's what we do. You've been using us sometimes without really knowing it. If you've been receiving a package on Amazon, which I think many of our listeners here have done, when you click on where is my package, when the driver is getting in the vicinity of your home, you click on that map, and then you're going to discover the Here logo on there. Whether it's Amazon or many other large transportation companies, all the automotive OEMs are our customers. We are really kind of the unknown force of the industry. We are not a consumer B2C company. We do not advertise at all on the map. We are a true B2B players in the industry. That's here in a nutshell.
Fantastic. So let's dive into a little bit about kind of the essentials to all this, and want to know a little bit more about how maps, as you mentioned, Hervé, and location data and technology are all used today in T&L and in transportation and logistics, and even more broadly, Nick, you know, the movement of people and goods and services that Hervé kind of outlined for you guys. How is all this used, and more importantly, how does it work?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about the iteration over 35 years that here has been in business, a lot has changed, right? I mean, I think back to taking road trips and things with my parents and an atlas, being used, and how do we get from points to points to now you just plug it on in your phone. We have continued to evolve, and as we as consumers or society has grown, us as a company here has had to grow with it, right? When you think about maps, it's how do you get to someplace? Most people don't think that those same maps are used really on how things get to you, right? In this on-demand society where we want things delivered exactly to this last point. Make sure you're picking me up in an Uber or a Lyft right in front of my house. Make sure that that is precise and pinpoint, because we've just become accustomed to this as a whole. And so here helps kind of bridge that gap and provide that technology to make it so that it can be done faster. I think just as a group of consumers, we are becoming more demanding on how and when we are things delivered. On top of that, the preciseness is the massive challenge that is dealt with. We've talked in the past about this last 100 meters on how you get a truck in the general area and it can kind of figure out where it is. Now you have to get exactly to that last meter. And to be honest, that's some of the largest challenges that get dealt with when we talk with our global clients is we need to get more precise. We need to get more exact. We need to get right down to the exact door on where the pickup is. For example, in a hotel, maybe it's different. How are you guiding the consumer to make sure they're in that spot, to be more efficient, to be able to optimize and maximize what's going on? A hotel maybe has a FedEx drop off in the back. You need to let those trucks know where they need to go. And again, what we do amazingly well with our partners is figure out what the world needs to look like for them, and we help them visualize and digitalize that. And that helps them operate and service better, but it also helps our consumer receive goods and live their lives in the level that they expect to. I mean, those are some of the kind of the main ways that they're done. I mean, I'm sure Hervé might have some other ideas or suggestions around that, but I mean, those are the things that we're seeing kind of in our day-to-day basis. So.
Yes, optimization. AI is on everybody's words and lips these days. Obviously, what we're observing is that the market is evolving, investing into new systems, and everybody's trying to figure out cost reduction, optimization in the end for that delivery. The more precise the data, the better the result of the algorithm in the end. And yes, algorithms and AI are getting better and software is getting better, but it needs in the end to be fed. So it's really a partnership between data and software on both sides of the transom between here and our customer ecosystem.
Yeah, and Nick, we were talking a little bit before the podcast started, and you mentioned that in your response. But actually, just curious about, you have global partners and fantastic customers. Was wondering and who some of your T and L partners are, and some of your great industry customers that stand out and worth mentioning.
Yeah, I mean, I generally think when you think about the industry as a whole, if people are moving goods and using maps, the biggest players in the world are using our type of systems. And as we discussed earlier, whether it's Amazon, everything as Hervé talked about there, last 10 stops away. If you look in the lower right-hand corner, there's just a little small watermark that says here, and that's obviously delivering millions of packages on a weekly, if not daily basis. Think about the major rideshare companies in the world, whether it's Lyft, whether it's Uber, we're helping power that technology to make sure that we're getting out there and picking you up and getting you to where you're trying to go. Whether it is last mile delivery services, again, think about the largest players in the world. Obviously, Amazon sits in there, but working in conjunction with groups like USPS, FedEx, UPS, those ones to really make sure that you're delivering this preciseness of the map that's available. We talked about the OEMs or the car companies. When you look in the dash and you log on in again, whether you know it or not, you're using our technology all around the world. Our whole goal is to not necessarily be the forefront of it, but help provide that great customer experience that no matter what you're trying to do as it relates to logistics, we're probably help guiding that to make sure everything is on time and efficient and delivering to your doorstep. So those are just a couple of the players. But again, obviously we're a global organization, and there's quite a bit from that perspective too.
On the global side, you actually are catching us today on the day when we just announced and put on a press release on our website a relationship with Hapag-Lloyd, actually, where we are actually the engine behind their asset tracking and shipment tracking system. So it's exciting news today. And then on the partner ecosystem, you can engage us directly, but what also happens is that some of the large shippers rely already on existing systems. And so we have built a vibrant ecosystem of system integrators and telematics providers, P44 and Ortex and ADCI and Descartes, to cite only a few that are probably going to be known in the American market, of course, but as well in Europe. Because of the market structure, you're having a lot of value-added partners and solution sellers that are being powered by our map data, and ultimately it becomes a way of constructing an entire system and a solution that supports your business operations.
Well, that is very exciting, and a couple big names in there. So I'm not surprised about that. And talking about there's a lot of hype and buzzwords surrounding T&L. I've already heard a few of them being already mentioned in this podcast, and especially when it comes to mobility technology these days. Obviously, as you pointed out, Nick, since the start of here, things have changed a lot. So, in fact, Nick, what should when talking to your customers, talking to your partners, what should executives be focused on for more of the near-term operational efficiency gains?
Yeah, I think, and to be honest, it's one of those things that come up almost in every high level discussion that we have with our clients. And a lot of the discussion, at least where it starts on, is really understanding the destination that they're trying to go inside their business and how they're trying to support their customers, right? To understand what good and great looks like, and then to help work backwards where how exact, precise directions or ability to help your supply chain and how that feeds into it. So there's a lot of conversation based around that. Executives also mostly realize is that change is hard. Like the act of picking up and bringing new technology into your organization is challenging and hard, but the results can be good. That's why it's so important for us to start kind of in what really great looks like and start working backwards. But again, for us, it's companies that want to work with best in class global providers, people that have the technology, and you're taking what is used in the auto industry and the largest of largest delivery companies. So it doesn't matter if you're that big, but you still get the same technology that can help run and grow your business involved in there. I'm a big proponent of helping leverage some of the existing technology that you have within your world. As I mentioned there, we work with so many partners. It's amazing how many times we go in to groups and they want to continue to improve and iterate on what they're doing. And without them even knowing it, they're using our
Mm.
technologies, whether it's a VAR, an ISV, a partner, they had no clue because again, we work very well behind the scenes and obviously want our partners and everything to get the glory from that. But as they're continuing to look and grow and iterate it, it exists there. But really just understanding the end-to-end impact that logistics or visibility as it relates to supply chain impacts themselves as a business massively can impact profitability, EBITDA, things like that, but also how it impacts your customer satisfaction, your ability to, reducing carbon emissions is a big thing now. So we're helping clients really track how to be able to do that. Those are all extremely important. And Hervé maybe jump in a little bit more, especially when it comes to AI and ML and how that's everybody's buzzwords. But what does that really mean to you and how you can go get it? I can have people throw it out and mean 100 different things. That's why I really focus on where you're trying to get to and let us try to figure out the right way to do it. And it may be direct with us or it may be a partner. So Hervé, I don't know if you want to jump on that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, when I think about it, ultimately AI, ML, this is software, right? I think that we're in the hype phase of the industry, and that's normal. Sometimes I go back to the beginning of my career. Everybody was talking about object-oriented databases. Maybe some of your listeners will remember that term. And I think in a couple of years, we'll be talking about again, or go back to route optimization, pick up and drop off definition, decisioning about what is the right address to stop at, occlusions on the road and obstructions on the road, and how that should be modifying a route planning for the day. And then predictive route planning a week ahead, once we know that the storm is about to impact the Northeast corridor, and suddenly we need to rethink the entire lineup. Those are the themes that I hear in AI ML, and it pushes ultimately the DNA that the customer themselves or their IT departments or their technology partners have to bring in. The entire industry in TNL and supply chain is actually going through not only an IT systems overhaul, but a DNA gene pool overhaul. And that's why it makes it so hard. And we're advancing cautiously, but surely with our customers and partners on that front.
It really is fascinating, since we at Millennium do so many different industries that we're all talking about AI and the leverage it has in the space. And it's so interesting to see where each industry is taking AI and ML and where it's going. And so really got kind of taking that aside, here delivers core mapping and location services, and capabilities that are embedded in applications across the first, middle, and last mile. And that really makes here technology stand out. And curious, Hervé, where should companies and perhaps their partners focus when it comes to digitizing their operations? Here comes the data question.
Yeah. And here we go again, right? The way that, to think about it simply is really, I guess, three words or maybe four: architecture, data attributes, and collaboration. So by architecture, I really mean thinking deeply about how the system of a customer or their partners is actually built. We are seeing, when we engage with our professional services and starting to deploy our map data layers and systems and software and router and geocoder and all the tools and the trade of the business, we're seeing that ultimately the customers have built historically a system, and they're having to migrate that system. And there is a lot of cost trapped into their legacy system, and we need to help them move to the next generation. And you don't do that just by ripping and replace. You usually actually take a very methodical approach to look at the architectural components of the software system that runs on the customer side, what we have, how our partner of ours could actually integrate the systems. And it turns into a bit of a Lego and building a new castle by building bricks correctly, and having honest conversation about what the customer can replace and at which speed. So we typically will engage with our customers for a very long time. We have an extremely high renewal rate because we're engaged for multi-years, accompanying our customers in this architecture overhaul, which is really what's going on in the market. The second thing is map attributes. It's important to realize that a map, you think about it sometimes as a consumer, oh, I have my map, my preferred map on my mobile phone, and there's a map in my car, and a map is a map. Well, not exactly. Actually, remember my analogy of the movie and the images of the frames of the movie. It so happens that, especially in the B2B enterprise and industrial T&L supply chain segment, you're having road attributes, that's how we call them. They're really data layers that will be specific for trucks. Think of all the road signs on the side of the road that are going to tell you the truck cannot go on this road segment, and the truck must exit at the next exit of the highway before entering into the urban area. Left turns are complicated. Intersections and trucks have a higher propensity of getting into accident, or motorcycle, by the way. I sometimes use my scooter. When you make a left turn, unprotected left turns are dangerous. So we're having customers that end up saying, oh my God, I would like to avoid those. So think about each one of the data layers that we are actually compiling, keeping fresh, updating, and making available for our customers to refine, again, the routing algorithm they may have built. We're wanting to use the routing algorithms we have, which leads me to the third one, which is the collaboration. Sometimes our customers, I'm thinking about a mining operation, says, hey, I'm driving trucks on a dirt road, or I want to drive my fire truck on a road that is not paved. Do you have that? Sometimes we do. Unpaved roads, we have plenty of them, actually. 40% of the roads that we have in our systems are actually unpaved road. That's a nice little factoid to know. But sometimes our customers are operating into an environment where they have access to private roads that are not available to you as a consumer. That is going to be a road attribute, and we are actually used to be working collaboratively with our customers and partners to create sometimes a data feedback loop. And we actually are able now to get into private layers. Think of it as the map that's made for you to support your operations and getting the two systems to talk to each other. So again, architecture, road attributes, and collaboration are really the pillars of what we do in the industry these days.
Yeah, Connor, just on top of that, I mean, when you talk about, people running fleets, and you talk about optimizing and taking these layers and creating something that makes you almost get a competitive advantage, right? You are running a fleet that is covering a city, and you know certain streets that even you can drive down them, you shouldn't. You want to close those down. You want people to not do U-turns at certain areas that have small turning radiuses. We can turn those on, turn those off, and again, get you that competitive advantage that allows you to deliver the expectation on the customers faster, more efficient, cheaper, taking less carbon emissions, those type of things. And the really, really great organizations and the people who are really leveraging location technology as an advantage to grow their business are coming to us with those specific problems. And we love that because of how much information we have and how much data we have in the maps, where we can help build that. And again, by understanding the destination, we can help work backwards with everything that we have. And we're seeing a lot of that. And again, it's a massive differentiator inside the market. And again, is why so many people are doing business with us.
Yeah, great points by both of you. And I want to dive into a little bit more like this granularity of the map data and talk a little bit about what we mentioned in the intro about the last meter challenge. And I think our audience would love to know more about that. And just the fact that you recently published this thought leadership piece and really how you can go even deeper on how companies are really tackling this last meter challenge. Really just curious to know for myself, and I'm sure our audience would love to know. and unpack this piece.
Um, I go back to a simple example, right? It's you go out of the restaurant that you enjoyed a nice meal with the family, and you hail your favorite ride-hailing application, and then the driver doesn't find you, and he calls you or you call him and say, "Where are you?" "Well, I'm here." Okay, we have heard that joke quite a few times, but that compels you. I want you to think about what is the concept of a place. A place in data can be represented by a point on a map in the middle of the building image that you see. We call that the display point. But it could also be the point where the car that you drive will tell you you have arrived. And that is a navigation point that is actually located on the road segment in front of the restaurant. But it so happens that this restaurant may have put the ride-hailing pickup point 10 yards away in front of the wide curb because they don't want to have the ride-sharing company car and stop in front of the valet parking. So you actually have a pickup point. And then if you're actually having to deliver a package into the lobby may be around the corner, especially if it's a hotel and the restaurant was in the lobby of the hotel. And then maybe for the loading dock of the hotel to deliver the big pallet of groceries for the restaurant, it's actually on the other side of the road around the block because the hotel is very big. So that means that when you think about what we call map attributes, we have to link each one of those data sets and actually bring more and more precision. That is the story of the mapping industry these days, especially as Nick was saying, the consumers are expecting more and more precision in timing. They get frustrated and annoyed quickly when the package doesn't arrive on time, when the driver doesn't find the entry door or the door to your house. How do you help our customers and their partners get to that level of precision? Behind it, there's a tremendous amount of investment that goes what we do at here to go into what we call micropoint addressing, which are now lighting up our geocoding infrastructure, our routing infrastructure, data and software working together, as well as getting into those collaborative data partnerships where some customers are saying, hey, I have a lot of images because my driver has a camera in the truck. Do you guys want to exploit it? And so we are getting more and more into those conversations to process that data. Ultimately, we're a data company, so we process billions of data points, obviously per month on the ingest side, and we have an infrastructure, we call it a Unimap, that actually processes all that data and ultimately is modifying the data layers more often all the way down to the day, to the hour, and sometimes to the minute when it's time to talk about traffic information. So I'm pausing here, but it's the granularity that comes in from and that makes those advanced use cases possible.
Yeah, just to piggyback a bit on what Hervé was saying there, and we start talking about, and I'll use it in generic terms, feedback loops with our partners, right? The ability to get data from our partners that are all driving around, right? Where is that precise pickup location, that closed loop, that ability to get that information, to take that and feed it back into the map to improve the map, even getting consumer or customer feedback through maybe a driving app where they're feeding it back through a ride share and providing information like, hey, this is pinning me as wrong, or showing that there's that this isn't where my house is, but this is where it is, those type of things to get those attributes to it, and Hervé even, briefly talking about using imagery, right? So many of trucks now, so many of cars now, so many of these things have cameras on them. The ability to take that information, and again, in my opinion, where the future of the map's going, instead of looking at it and it being two-dimensional on a dot and you're standing on a dot, how much better could it be if the driver is seeing, it's between a Chase Bank sign and a public sign, and okay, that's where it is. So visually it starts becoming. So that ability to be able to take that information in is that continued iteration of how we're staying above and in front of the curve of where it's coming, but to deliver these customer user experiences that will make you want to continue to use your favorite food delivery app or your favorite rideshare app. Yeah, it really comes down to how can we help our clients deliver for their consumers better, more efficiently, and mapping plays a huge role in it. And sometimes we just don't unpack how much it actually does play a role in it.
Yeah, that's really awesome. And I feel like not all map makers have those capabilities and are even looking towards the future like here is. So really fascinating stuff. And speaking of feedback, here in AWS, one of the TNL go-to market partners of yours, that you mentioned, Nick, you published an insightful study this year on technology trends in transportation and logistics. So curious as it relates to improving fleet optimization by companies globally. Uh, could you possibly share, Nick, what might have stuck out from your survey or worth noting from this survey of TNL professionals?
Yeah, I think it's interesting is that a lot of companies are still struggling with it, like how to take their fleets, how to optimize their fleets, how to run it the most efficiently. Like technology has been around for a while, but sometimes
Yeah.
actually leveraging using the technology to its full capabilities is challenging for these customers. Again, it doesn't matter some of the largest movers in the world to local delivery companies that we help with it. There is just a struggle to get it tuned in right. And we're very keen to get there sitting side by side with the partners and saying, well, what are you trying to accomplish and how are you using it? I mean, some of the largest users in the world of our technology, I've sat down with their CTOs or global CTOs, and they're like, we didn't know that you guys did all this other stuff that we're actually could be improving our usage and improving our fleet and improving how we're optimizing and routing. And so it's being able to have those open and honest discussions and really understanding that you want to improve your fleet optimization and it needs to be a partnership working together versus, well, come tell me what you have or show me what you have. It needs to be this collaboration because again, being a data company and being able to help form and mold the data and best to serve you is again a differentiator and something that just because it's not a air quote off the shelf solution, we just maybe not have had somebody want to use it that way. And if somebody is, we can probably help them. Next thing that stands out is there's still a lot of old tech or no tech being used in some of these fleets, right? The amount of amazing companies I've seen that are still using Excel to do some route planning or to do some reverse logistics is surprising. But I also understand why, right? They're struggling with it, and this fear of change is something that does exist, right? We've had this, it's done good enough, it's gotten us to where we are, but we a lot of times have the conversation, what got you here isn't going to get you to where you want to go. It's really working through that, and again, when I mentioned the fear of change absolutely exists in this space. It's there, we see it every day. But again, that's why we try to work people through that process. And sometimes you don't try to rip everything out at one time. You just try to help them ease through and get these small milestones and get some small wins under their belts where they feel comfortable with where they're going. I think the last two things that I see come up, I think visibility is key for all involved. When you think about a supply chain, there's a lot of pieces in it before when it comes off the factory till it gets to your door. There's a lot of steps that go in it, and consumers are looking for that visibility through the whole part now. Alerts, updates, real time ability to be able to track. Oh, your Amazon stop is 10 stops away. You're able to physically see it moving around on a map. Like we as consumers are doing that. Where is my pickup? Where's the car that's picking me up? Okay, I see it. It's 1.2 miles away. Great. I can stop here and grab a candy bar before I jump in. Whatever it is, that visibility is important. And I think the last thing, I think, there's a massive talk around sustainability. I spend a lot of time speaking with customers about it, and it's something I'm very, very passionate about it. It sounds great. Delivering it is hard, but we have the technology and the ability to help you reach your sustainabilities and emission goals if you're willing to put in the work. And I believe now more so than ever, I think that we're going to see more and more clients really trying to deliver on those promises for, cutting emissions and really trying to become more sustainable and be more effective. And that really does tie back to route optimization and fleet optimization more than you would think because of wasted miles driven and stuff like that, and not the right routes being worked on. So that was a bit of a lecture from there, but a bit of a soapbox. But those are some of the things that I'm seeing.
We'll go back to those buzzwords like sustainability, but I think sustainability is one of those things that it's on every organization's mind at this point. Kind of just wrapping up, and I want to, be mindful of your time, and you guys are busy guys, so just talking a little bit about the future. And we could find here, you can always visit here.com, check out their YouTube channel, their videos, find them on LinkedIn. That's all great. And we'll leave links in the description of this episode that way. And of course, you can reach out to Nick or Hervé. But I'm curious about, since you guys have been doing this, for a while, and you've seen the change of technology take place, over the course of time, and how AI is going to play out. There's so many things to think about and of course, Nick's sustainability. But looking ahead towards the future, and where we've been, where we are now, and where we are going. What does fleet management and supply chain operations and that map making, and what is it? You could even say what does the map look like in 20 what year are we in, 2024? What does it look like in 2034? Just curious about your thoughts on the future, and if you have any ideas about really where this technology is going, especially at here, that'd be awesome. And I'll start with you.
Looking a bit into the crystal ball, 10 years out, right? The Silicon Valley is working hard for the next 3 years, so 10 years is a challenge. But when I go back to the fundamentals of technology, roadmap, and evolution, I think that we're at a moment of inflection in the reshaping of the human to machine interface. AI ultimately, and the famous large language models are basically going to be changing profoundly how we interface with the computer system. For many years, we had a browser, a keyboard. We would be typing commands into the machine, and we had a tablet and a stylus. We would draw things with that. And now you're actually say to the computer and the AI model, please paint for me a picture of a urban scene of Paris with the Eiffel Tower, and please add an elephant climbing the Eiffel Tower, and here you have your image, right? And you just talked to the machine, or you just typed your interface. So I think that something profound is going to happen, the way that a driver of a truck interfaces with the system in the truck, whether the driver of a ride-sharing car is going to be interfacing with their driver application, the way that a dispatcher is going to say, hey, we know that there's a ball game in a week, and that downtown San Francisco around the ballpark is going to be clogged. What should I do for my dispatch that day? And we'll have enough IT and AI and ultimately algorithmic investment in the systems of the companies that support all those use cases, that suddenly will be able to, the end user will be able to have a very different, more fluid, arguably, relationship with the system. Beneath that, the quality of the data, the granularity of the data will have to be up to snuff. And it is just not only on the available data of the open wide internet that you'll find the answer. Because also, if you fast forward 10 years out, if I take a bit my lawyer hat, sometimes I like to play a lawyer on TV and really understand the licensing restrictions, conditions, and what the business evolution is, we're probably going to see more and more codification of all the data sets that are available to those machines. Already today, you're seeing the beginnings of that story. That means that private data, private map data, two-way data partnerships are going to be the heart of this new map of the future. You may never see the map anymore, but the system will be intelligent enough, powered by the map beneath, to actually do what you need to do as a business operator or an end user. So that's my vision for 10 years out. Nick, off to you.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be more immersive, right? I think that the look and feel of it's going to continue to evolve and change. I think if we just look at the way people are using, smart glasses, smart goggles, those type of things, and kind of getting more immersed in that. When you see if you've made it to CES or any of the new innovation shows where they show some of the cars of the future and some of those things, right, that are coming, where you look at how the dashes are almost engulfing you in a sense, and you get into automation and autonomous driving. Obviously, here is the industry leader when it comes to working with the autonomous driving and stuff like that. How is that going to continue to change our lives? How is that going to impact the way we receive and deliver goods? There's a golf course that's going to be opening up around here. It's a Michael Jordan golf course, and they're going to be delivering drinks and food and stuff through drones out to the holes and things, right? Where is it going? I think, well, look at your greatest science fiction movie. I think that we're continuing to move that, but here is on the cutting edge to making sure that it is more possible. But the preciseness will need to be there from an autonomous car or from something coming to pick you up. The preciseness is what's important. When you pull all of it together and whatever the technology is, how it's evolved from maps, physical maps, atlases, to where it is now to where it's going, the information has to be correct. It has to be high quality data. It has to be specifically put in a format that allows you to run your business. And here helps bring that all together to help you deliver what you're looking for your customers and meet their expectations. So we just love being involved in it. It's really cool how we're continuing to ingest data and again make the product and the offering even better to our customers and at the end their end customers.
Yeah. I really like where you went there, both of you. Um, good possibilities. I think we'll have to revisit this in our 10-year anniversary podcast when we meet again. And no matter what, as long as it's efficient and the customers are satisfied, I think that's where this all heads. So, Hervé Utheza, Nick Zabikow, thank you so much for joining the Millennium Live podcast. It's great to talk supply chain management, sustainability, all the great things that Here Technologies is working on, and not only that, just getting your thoughts on why this is such a critical time for T&L partners to really advance forward into the future. So, want to thank you both, and keep making Here Technologies great. Again, thank you to our audience. Please reach out to either Hervé or Nick for guidance on this, because we all need it at most at this time. So thanks again, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.